Hi, John Miles here, and I'm going to show how to set up and use the 3-channel central and fixed side lighting iris camera. Now this is one of the best ones. It has 3 channels, so you can do right side, left side, or center lighting. And it's kind of like 2 illuminators in one. So first you push in the button here and lift up the latches. Open that up there. And normally the documentation, including a quick setup guide, is stored behind the top lid foam, so you can find that there. And then in the carry case, what you hear is the illuminator, the camera with macro lens, battery charger for the camera, some accessories, and a spare zoom lens here. So the first step is you lift out the camera. I like to put 2 fingers on the foam here and lift it up with 3 fingers, just like that, 3 fingers, and set it down. Next, same thing with the illuminator, just lift it up like that with 2 fingers and set that down. And that's actually all you need from here. The next step is you get the camera and remove the lens cap, power it on, dial the lens all the way downwards with your left hand so that you get to just the 0.286 in the meter here. That's what the focus is. And when it's all the way on the minimum focus, the dot will be right by the 6 of 0.286, that's meters. And also for photography of other people, you put this on manual here. Usually if I'm photographing animals, I'll use autofocus, or if I'm photographing myself, I'll use autofocus. VR should always be off because it doesn't operate when the flash is being used. And when you're taking pictures of the iris, you always use the flash. So after you turn it on, make sure this is on the A mode. The top mode dial should be on A in the MEC sequence. And then you push this top button that has a lightning bolt icon, and the flash will pop up. The settings are described in the documentation, but I usually use f20 and ISO 200 and through the lens. And I also generally will increase the exposure compensation about plus 1.0. And you set that down, and you grab the illuminator like so. Actually, I'll hold it like this. So I put my thumb on the top here, and then that gets mated with the camera like this. So you put it on here, so the top is right at the 9 o'clock position. And you can usually see a little gap there between the top and the handle, but that's where it goes, like that. And then once that's seated properly, then you rotate it 90 degrees to the 12 o'clock position, like that. And then at this point, the only thing left is to turn on the focusing light by dialing this up. You can adjust the brightness there. And just to show how simple it is to use, I'll take a picture of my own iris. I'll put it on M/A, that means it's autofocus. And I'll just look straight into the camera like this. And as you can see, there's a perfectly good photo. You can do the other eye, one of each eye. There it is again. And this is a D3400, which can wirelessly transfer the image directly to your computer or smart device. However, I prefer the USB cord because it's a little bit more, well, it's faster and a little more, it's simpler to attach. And now this is where the shutter is on the middle position for central lighting, where the light comes out there. But if you slide this over to, let's say, to the right, then the light will only go through this side, which is the left light, and that's the one you use for the right eye. So you can get a good iris photo that way. And here it is with the side lighting. And I don't usually shoot with the light coming immediately over the bridge of the nose. But if I need a side lighting of the left eye, I'll just slide this over that way, to the left, and then the light will only go through this side of the channel. And so I'll just hold that up there. And another perfectly good iris photo. So at this point now, I'll show one more thing. Sometimes it's good to have a chin rest, and I happen to have one here. And this is the deluxe, most professional model of chin rest. It's just, this part here is just like what an ophthalmologist would use, and this is specially designed for good iris photography. So what happens here is the chin rest has a couple of tension knobs, one here to adjust this tension, and one here to adjust the rotary tension. So the first time you use it, because when it's shipped, it's torqued up pretty tight, but you'll want to make this so it's not really much resistance, just a nice smooth movement. That's for the rotation around the vertical axis to point it at one eye or the other. And the other tension adjustment, which should be fairly tight, is for the tilting of the camera. So if it's too loose, the camera won't balance. However, it is designed to be pretty close to the center of gravity. And to attach the camera, you just bring this back here, the latch, and you tuck the front edge of the clip in the release plate, and then you tilt the camera back until that snaps shut. And then you do have to squeeze that tight to make it snug. And at this point, as with macro photography, you always focus by moving the whole camera. So if you're not taking pictures of yourself, you focus by moving this knob. It's a lot easier and smoother, and a person can get a better focus than the camera itself. And the next step, well, I'll take another shot of my own iris just to show the simplicity. But this time, when you have a chin rest, what you do is there's a black mark right here. It's about 1 inch below the forehead strap, and that's called the eye line. And you want to make this adjustable height so that the person's iris is centered right there, about 1 inch, 1.5 inches below the forehead strap. And that way, the camera is designed to be vertical when it's pointing at that height. So after the person puts their head here, ask them to push forward all the way with the forehead, and then you rotate this until you get the head lifted up right so it's just about 1 inch below the forehead strap. And at that point you can go ahead and take a picture. I'll set this for center lighting and open my lid, and there you have it. Another perfectly good iris photo. Now when you're taking it, it's good to have the person tug gently on their lower lid, or sometimes they can open their eye like this, but usually they would prefer to move their lid out of the way. But I like to see the whole iris, so I'll do that. And if they can't do it, I'll help them with the cotton-tipped applicators, but there it is. Now again, this is with autofocus. It works pretty well with the blue iris, but normally when you're focusing, you'll just rotate that dial until you get a nice sharp picture. And that's about all there is to it. You just point this at one eye or the other, and as long as the person is looking straight in at the lens, it will be perfectly lined up. And to help that, I have them cover the opposite eye. So if I'm shooting the right eye, which I always do first, as a matter of routine, then I'll take my left hand and cover this eye to make sure I'm not wandering the gaze. And like I said, we can take another photo in autofocus, and that's all there is to it. I'll have another video that shows how to work with the computer, and then you can bring this image up right away on the screen and review the images, and the software called digicamcontrol.com will automatically save the pictures to your hard drive. but it is Windows only. There are other solutions for Macintosh, but that's the one I use. So thanks for watching, and I'll be making more.